Relationship advice. Update. My 23 female little brother, 13 mil, hasn't said a word since my dad, 45 mil, called him a mistake, plus other things, 2 days ago. Original post. My little brother is the smiliest boy ever. He's extremely cheeky and talks a lot. He also gets into a lot of trouble at school. Not too bad, it's usually just, your son keeps interrupting class, your son doesn't listen to instructions, your son is very loud on the bus, your son may be a bit distracting at times. Like I said, not too bad. My dad says otherwise. My dad and brother don't have the best relationship. In fact, they seem to argue every day. I think it's because my brother isn't the ideal son my dad wanted. Bro is an art kid, dad is a typical sports guy. I know it isn't right to take sides, but my dad is being a bit much with my brother. He's a good kid just with a lot of energy. He gets good grades too, so there isn't really much my dad can use against him. 2 days ago, my brother got into trouble at school again. Apparently, he was talking while the teacher was talking, and when asked to leave the classroom, he refused. I definitely think there is something else that isn't being revealed, because my brother doesn't do that. He'd crack a joke or two, but he wouldn't just swear at the teacher for no reason. My brother hates it when people swear. My dad didn't care if the situation seemed odd. Nope, not at all. He picked him up from school and just shouted at him. According to my mom, my dad called him a mistake, a headache, and a sorry excuse for a son. He also made comments about whether he was straight, and asked him why he looked like a girl. Then, to top it all off, he threw away my brother's favorite sketchbook. I went over immediately and tried to talk to him, but on the first day, my dad refused to let me in. My brother left me on read when I texted him and didn't answer any of my calls. I went back again yesterday, and the whole time, my brother stayed in his room and refused to talk to me. He didn't go to school or anything either, just stayed in his room all day. I tried talking to him earlier today again, but he just ignored me. I asked my parents why he isn't going to school. He wasn't suspended or anything, and my mom just shrugged, and said that dad would deal with it. She also said that he wasn't talking to anyone, so I shouldn't worry too much. Now my mom's getting on my nerves too. This is literally my last resort. I desperately need advice on how I can get my brother to talk to me. I need him to see that I'm there for him and that I love him and that he isn't a mistake, but I just don't know how. Now for the top advice before the update. It is absolutely right to take sides. Pick a side. His side. What did you text him? I'd probably try something like, "Hey, I love you. Dad's a jerk. I'll always be here for you whenever you need me." And then just leave him to open up in his own time. How easy is it for him to get to your place if he needs some space? Yeah, I've made it really clear to my parents about whose side I'm on. I texted my brother those exact words too. As for him coming over, it is completely possible. My friend, also roommate, is pretty well off and space isn't an issue. Plus, it won't be super awkward considering my brother knows her pretty well. I plan on asking if he wants to stay with me for a bit. Hopefully I'm able to see him tonight. It is not wrong to take sides. You should take sides. Your brother's side. He is a 13-year-old boy who's been fish-slapped in the face by his own stupid a-hole of a father. Tell your father he's a wanker, and your brother that you love him exactly how he is, and that you'll try everything to keep him safe and happy cause he's a great brother. I did tell my dad he was being an a-hole, but he just rolled his eyes and continued to insult my brother. I've texted my brother etc., just to tell him that I love him and that he's absolutely perfect the way he is. I know he's read them. I just hope that will be enough until I go over in some time. Has anyone at all heard from your brother in the last 2 days? I mean anyone start texting his friends, other related people he trusts. If no one has spoken or had any contact with him in over 2 days besides your dad, there may be something going on that needs a higher authority, police not God, involved, to make sure your brother is safe. I hope to God he is safe and I just read this wrong or am overreacting. I really hope this gets better for you and your brethren's sake. I managed to contact one of his friends earlier, and apparently, they couldn't get a hold of him either. I also asked my aunt and she couldn't get him to answer her phone calls as well. I'm planning on going back to him and checking on him tonight because I am extremely worried. I hope he's safe as well and thank you for your concern/advice. And now for the update. My brother is fine. He looked absolutely horrible and was a complete mess, but he was alright. I went over last night and my mom let me in. I explained to her that my brother, you can call him Nicky, could stay with me for a while. She was easily convinced. My dad just told me to make sure Nikki doesn't ruin my life, to which I responded to with a big F you. He was kind of stunned, but whatever, I absolutely hate him right now. I took everyone's advice and basically told Nikki that I was here for him. I told him that I loved him and that dad was a major a-hole. I told him that I'd buy him more art supplies if he'd like, and I told him that he could stay with me for a while. It took some time, but my brother unlocked the door and basically just sobbed in my arms. It was probably the most heartbreaking moment of my life. My little brother just kept crying and crying, and all my parents did was roll their eyes. As of right now, he's fast asleep at my place and we're going to go shopping for stuff later. He'll also go back to school after the weekend. And some people asked if he was in the closet or had ADHD, and to that all I have to say is that if he was a part of the LGBT community or if he did have ADHD, I would still love him all the same. I told him that as well, less directly obviously, and he just smiled. He was pretty exhausted last night. As his older sister who raised him ever since he was a little baby, these past few days were really tough, but they were much harder on my brother. He is definitely going to be staying with me for a while, and although I can't guarantee anything, I have school and work, I'll try my absolute hardest to protect him from my parents. Thank you to everyone who gave advice/support, and thank you so much for worrying about Nikki, I really appreciated it. Now for some top comments. I am not a violent person, but I want to knock your father's teeth out. You did good. I'm not either, but I would be waiting in line. My dad told me with venom when I was 17, that I have a black heart and I'll never change. He went on about why would I even pretend to be a good person, when I'm obviously not. He was angry about something so small and unimportant. The next day he apologized by saying, "I'm sorry you got upset." I'm now in my 30s, and I will never forget what he said. I can honestly say that those few words changed my life. It took me a long time to get out of the depression that followed, and to learn to love and accept myself. My dad and I have a decent relationship now, but I don't love him. I'm really sorry for your brother. He needs to know that your dad is a liar, and that he is wanted and loved. My brother called me a waste of space when I was 18. I am now 24 and depressed. I want to think I am otherwise. We will see. Practical advice. Document. Keep all receipts, and document this story with as many corroborating details as you can. It is better to have this ready, in case your parents try to loose their venom on you, than to have to scramble. I can visualize them calling the cops or protective services, saying you kidnapped him. He is very lucky to have you in his life. Please keep being the wonderful person you are. Now for the next story. Update. I, 14 male, hit my 16 female cousin, and now my family is upset and no one but my dad believe me. Original post. I know based off the title and being judged extra hard. I don't condone harming a woman, and if I could go back, I would. What's done is done, and now my family is in turmoil. So, my auntie and uncle came to my house to talk to my parents. I thought this was stupid because of COVID, but they went ahead and came anyway. They brought my cousin, who we will call Carly. Me and Carly get along fine, but yesterday, we did not. We started to argue about a game system. It was a stupid argument of who got the good controller and bad controller. Everything went downhill when I would not give her the good one. It's my system. She tried to take the remote from me, but in the process, slapped me across the face with her nails. I started bleeding, so I got up and walked to the bathroom. I don't know if she had an adrenaline rush, but all I hear is, "My nails." She grabs me, and punched me in the face. In the heat of the moment, I punched her in the stomach and she fell over screaming. Her dad comes up the stairs, and without asking any questions beelines towards me. He grabs me, then my dad came and grabbed him before he could hit me. Him and my dad were yelling pretty bad. My mom and Andy are talking to my cousin. My dad tells them to get out of his house. As of right now, I have gotten text messages and phone calls from my family, calling me a female beater. My dad is the only person to believe me. My mom is saying she believes me, but is acting cold. How do I fix this and stop my family from breaking down even more? I blocked my cousin and her parents, but I don't know what to do now. I also feel like my uncle really wants to fight me. Now for the top advice before the update. I say this as a mom of daughters, you absolutely have the right to defend yourself. Girls don't get a free pass to just punch you in the face and beat on you because you're a boy. Had you really beat her up, it would be a different conversation maybe, but you met her force with equal force. You didn't start the physical altercation, but you should not just be expected to take it. A man should never hit a woman, but a woman should also never hit a man. I agree with you. She shouldn't have put her hands on him and then play victim. I'm glad you defended yourself. Quite honestly, given the ages, I don't really understand the gender issue here at all. Like, they are kids and by most timelines, your cousin is likely ahead of you in the puberty development cycle. Are you way bigger than her or something? She's just a little bit taller than me. Yeah, regardless of your family drama, don't stress out about the female beating bullcrap. You are a kid, she is an older kid, fights happen. Defending yourself is not harming women. She clawed you, got mad that she broke her nails clawing you, then punched you for her breaking her nails. So, you knocked the wind out of her. Her actions are to blame, not yours. Then her dad comes in and tries to beat a 14-year-old, but still calls him a female beater? Like dude, aren't you a kid beater, only beating people who you know you can beat and are underage? And now for the update. Okay, so thanks to everybody's advice, this will be the first and last update. Also, a lot of you asked which side is my uncle on. He is my mom's brother. I don't even think my dad's side even knows or cares about what happened. Okay, so to start, the day after my post my parents wanted to talk. As soon as we sat down, my mom apologized to me. According to her, she didn't know who to believe, and she also thinks regardless of what happened, nobody should have been fighting. She said a lot of things, but the end result there was, that she didn't mean anything she said to me, but that she was just disappointed and embarrassed that a fight even broke out. I asked her if my dad wasn't there, would she have tried to stop my uncle when he came up the steps? My mom said that my uncle wasn't going to hurt me, but she would have tried to stop him. I really don't believe her based off her reaction to this whole mess, but at least she apologized, so everything is normal between us. My dad said that me fighting her didn't matter nearly as much as my uncle touching me. However, he said I should just say sorry to my cousin for hitting her, and he would deal with my uncle. Let's call cousin Carly from now on. For Reddit advice, I explained that I shouldn't have to apologize for hitting her if it was self-defense. He just told me that sometimes you have to be the mature one in a situation. That even though I was wrong, I should take the high road, because next time something happens, people are more than likely to agree with the person who tries to make peace, than a person who doesn't try at all. He said I didn't have to apologize, and that it was completely my choice. I wasn't going to apologize, but I kind of agreed with him and decided I would. He said before I call Carly, him and my mom would talk to the rest of the family and my uncle about what happened. Later in the day, most of the family apologized for the text messages and phone calls. I'm assuming my parents talked to them. Some did not, but that's okay. Anyway, according to the people that did apologize, Carly and her parents had told a different story than me. Carly's story is that she had the remote first. I tried to take it from her, but in the process, I broke her nails when I grabbed her hand. She then said she was walking out the room to tell her parents when I grabbed her to stop her, and that I blocked the door. She said she slapped me because I would not let go of her. I'm assuming she told her parents she slapped me with the non-broken nail hand. That's the only way for the scratch on my face? Then I hit her. They also went on to say that they should have gotten involved without hearing the full story. I just told them thanks for apologizing. But it's not cool how you can just talk trash to your own family without hearing the full story. Some of them stopped responding after that, while some kept apologizing for it. I don't really forgive them for sending all those messages to me, but I'm glad that they at least admitted they were wrong. Anyway, my parents came to me later on in the day and asked me to call Carly. It rung one time, so I'm assuming she blocked me too. So, we decide to just call my uncle. My dad asked my uncle to apologize for touching me, and to put Carly on the phone so that we can all just move on. My uncle said no. They then started to argue about it. Long story short, I'm not longer welcomed over my uncle's house and they're no longer welcome to ours. My mom tried to calm them both down, but it didn't work. My uncle is set on, regardless of what my story is, I should never hit a woman, and that I should be lucky my dad was there because anybody with a daughter wouldn't let them get hit by somebody. So in the end, most of the family apologized and they're talking to me again. The ones that did not apologize, I don't know. My uncle is no longer allowed in our house. I lost an Xbox controller. I have no idea what my cousin is doing. Some of you thought she was pregnant, she is not, but I'm done with her anyway at this point. I'm assuming my dad, mom, and uncle are going to work it out one day, but until then, It really doesn't affect me. But that's it. Everything's as good as it's going to get for now. To the family members that did apologize, I still want to talk to them. I'm hoping that they didn't mean some of the things they said to me, but that they were just angry in the moment. To the ones that didn't, I'm no longer going to talk to them. My mom wants me to because it's her family, but she said she wouldn't make me. My dad said it's my call if I want to talk to them. So yeah, thanks Reddit. Now for some top comments. Your uncle is the reason your cousin thinks she can put her hands on people and get away with it. Maybe it's a good thing they're no longer welcome around, they sound like toxic people. You and your family are better off. This needs way more upvotes. Your uncle raised an a-hole child, and was going to put hands on someone else's child. Adults have no place hitting kids, let alone other people's children. Screw him. I can't believe how immature the adults in your life are, with the exception of your dad. Instead of asking questions and scolding you both in a constructive way, they proceed to attacking you verbally and physically. I'm glad that most of your family issues were corrected. That dad really is a level-headed good dude. He tried to allow the son to make a peace, but always gave him options and always backed the son. What a great role model. The only real loss here was the controller. This is definitely a big L. I'm broke, so I have to wait to buy a new one. Carly owes you one for sure, but don't get your hopes up. Any chance your parents would go for splitting with them to get one? And of course, it's really Carly/her parents who need to return/replace the controller. At this point, there is no chance for Carly giving it back. My parents give me an allowance, so it's not going to take that long for a new remote. So, they don't have to split it with me, but it would be cool if they did. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.